Good happy Thursday is Thursday, October 23rd, 2025. I'm Riley King and welcome to your Thursday edition of WRMK News 12. We have a lot of news to get to on this Thursday, so let's begin right now. First up, Concord School Board moves to address 5 million budget deficit. The Concord School Board voted unanimously Wednesday to move forward with a plan to close a 5 million budget gap through a mix of spending cuts, trust fund withdrawals, and a property tax increase. Board of Education president confirmed the decision to WRMK News 12, saying the combination approach was the most viable way to maintain essential services while stabilizing the district's finances. The district officials have attributed the shortfall to several unexpected expenses, including higher than anticipated costs for state and federally mandated student services. I often think about it like a family budget, Barb Higgins said during the meeting. Somewhat you have to save for a rainy day. Right now, it's a rainstorm and a tsunami is coming. We need to balance using what we have to with making sure next year hit doesn't break us. Concord is not only in facing financial strain. The Rochester School District recently reported a 1.3 million deficit after discovering its state adequate aid was lower than expected due to inaccurate student data. The errors, which undercounted homeless students and language learners, made the district appear more affluent and reduce state funding. Rochester officials hope to recover the lost funds through the state board. Meanwhile, the Claremont School District is grappling with a shortfall exceeding 5 million, which local leaders have linked to administrative mismanagement. State lawmakers are considering a proposal that would allow Claremont to borrow from state education funds at the state start of each school year, with a repayment and interest structure to avoid the cost to taxpayers. As districts across New Hampshire tighten budgets, school leaders say they face difficult decisions to preserve programs and services without overburdening local taxpayers each year. Rochester School District faces 1.3 million deficit after a data error. Let's get into more on that story. The Rochester School District is facing a 1.3 million budget shortfall after submitting inaccurate student data to the state, resulting in a significant loss of education funding. The superintendent said the error led to major reduction in the district's state adequate aid, money allocated for students with additional needs, such as English language learners and students receiving special education services. It was really kind of the perfect storm of bad practice that came to bite, said the superintendent. We built our budget assuming level funded adequacy, then to find out that it was being reduced by 1.3 million was really a significant impact to us. The problem, officials said, stemmed from inaccurate reporting of student demographics, the number of homeless students, and English language learners was undercounted, making the district appear more affluent and therefore ineligible for the same level of aid. The state of New Hampshire just looked at the information that was provided to them and determined the district's needs, the superintendent said. Unfortunately, that data wasn't even close to accurate. District leaders plan to appeal to the State Board of Education in hopes of recouping the lost funds. At a hearing Tuesday night, the Rochester City Council proposed using 360,000 from waste management funds and 931,000 from unassigned funds to close the gap. The funds would only be used if the district's appeal is unsuccessful. If we don't get that adequate funding, the city will use undesignated surplus funds to cover the 1.3 million, the superintendent said. Hopefully, I won't need it, but it's reassuring to know that as we close out the fiscal year, there's money in the bank if we do. The City Council is expected to vote on the proposal at its next meeting on November 5th. Video shows dispatchers stop nearly naked intruder at Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Newly obtained surveillance video shows the moments when two Hillsborough County dispatchers stopped a man wearing only a Speedo and a hat from entering their secure workplace. An encounter, police say, left one dispatcher seriously injured. The video, exclusively obtained by WRMK News 12 Investigates, captured 50-year-old Corey Nickerson of Goffstown attempting to push his way from the vestibule of the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office into the dispatcher center on August 9th. Authorities said Nickerson followed an employee through a secure door and then allegedly assaulted two dispatchers before fleeing the building. He was later arrested after a brief police chase. Nickerson has pleaded not guilty to multiple charges, including assault, criminal threatening, and false imprisonment. Typically, our dispatchers are the ones rendering assistance over the phone or radio for people calling 911, Sheriff Brian Newcomb said. This time, they were the ones who needed help. The footage shows one dispatcher struggling with Nickerson before pushing him back towards the door as he resists. Sheriff Newcomb praised the dispatchers for their quick actions during what he described as a random attack. Luckily, they're safe and we're grateful for that, Newcomb said. But there are lasting efforts. One sustained serious bodily injury, and there's also the emotional toll of returning to work where it all happened. Newcomb, who has served with the sheriff's office for more than 2 decades, said he had never witnessed anything like it. It hasn't happened in my 24 years here, he said. Hopefully, it never happens again. Nickerson remains in custody pending further court proceedings. U.S. military launches second airstrike on a suspected cartel vessel in eastern Pacific. The U.S. military has conducted a second airstrike in as many days on a suspected drug cartel vessel operating in eastern Pacific Ocean, officials confirmed Thursday. The strike targeted what authorities described as a narco vessel believed to be transporting illegal drugs. It follows a similar operation earlier this week as U.S. forces intense efforts to disrupt maritime trafficking routes used by translational criminal organizations. Further details about the vessel, including its origin and the quantity of the narcotics on board, have yet to be released. And that does it for this edition of WRMK News 12 on this Thursday. Thank you for tuning in and watching, and have a great rest of your Thursday. Bye.